Hello everyone. So we're continuing with our discussion on the different parts of the essay, and in this particular video we're going to be talking about introductory paragraphs. So in the previous lesson we talked about thesis statements, which as we know are part of introductory paragraphs, but in this lesson we'll also talk about titles, hooks, background information, and then how the thesis statement functions with the introductory paragraph as a whole. So again, thesis statement, here we have titles, intros, body paragraphs, and concluding paragraphs with some quick definitions of what each one entails, but again, just focusing on titles and introductory paragraphs today. Now, while the title of your essay is not officially part of an introductory paragraph, it is the first thing your audience is going to read from your essay. So I'm sure you've heard the phrase, "Don't judge a book by its cover," which is fair, but we do often judge books by their title, which I believe is a quite fair judgment to make, because titles, they draw readers in and they hint at what the essay is going to be about. So titles are generally creative and interesting while also previewing the essay's content. So titles do a lot of work. You know, if someone doesn't like the title of your essay, they may not continue reading. But if they like the title of your essay, or they find it intriguing or interesting because of what it is hinting at regarding your essay as a whole, they'll continue on into the introductory paragraph. So titles should, as I said, be creative. They should be interesting enough to keep the audience reading, and they should preview the essay's content. They should also be capitalized appropriately. So this is a huge issue with student essays, particularly in English 002. Now, just because, you're quickly writing through these essays doesn't mean you shouldn't be capitalizing your titles incorrectly. It doesn't mean you should be capitalizing anything incorrectly. I do have a link on Moodle underneath student resources that will capitalize your titles for you. And I will go ahead and show you that website. So here we are on our classes Moodle website. And if you scroll down to student resources, you will see a link for capitalizing student essays. And of course, it seems that it is not here, so just give me a second to add that and I'll take you there. Okay, sorry it wasn't there the first time, but anyway, so here we have the link that you can click to take you to this website. So this website kind of does the work for you when it comes to capitalizing your title. Or not even just the title of your essay in particular, but like if you're going to write about an article that you've read, a movie, a song, what have you, you need to capitalize that correctly in your essay as well, so this can help you with that. So if you scroll down, you'll see a bunch of different tips and information regarding capitalizing titles. And while that is very useful to know, this little box up here does the work for you. Now, before you type your title into this box, you should be mindful of the style in which you're writing. So, English classes use or follow MLA style guidelines. MLA stands for the Modern Language Association, and most of the humanities disciplines use MLA. Style guidelines when it comes to formatting papers, documenting research, punctuation, grammar, title capitalization, all that good stuff. So when you go to this website, make sure you click MLA, and then all you have to do is type. Now, as I'm typing this, I am not clicking shift, nothing. You can see that it will do it for you, okay? So, and then all you have to do from there is copy and paste your title into the title box in NROC. And the title is like the last box you have to fill out, okay? So now we can go back to the lesson. All right, so titles, quick and easy. Now let's move on to the actual introductory paragraph. So your introductory paragraph should include a hook, background information, and a thesis statement in this order, okay? It's very important that you follow this order. If you remember from the last body paragraph, or excuse me, my brain, if you remember from the last lesson, the thesis statement should be the last sentence in your introductory paragraph, okay? So please make sure that when you are putting together your body paragraph, you are going in this order with a hook, background information, and a thesis statement. So let's break each one down. The hook is exactly what it sounds like. It's meant to hook your reader into your essay. So the hook is an engaging moment at the beginning of your essay. The purpose of the hook is to entice your audience and to make your audience want to keep reading your essay. Depending on the length of your essay, the hook can be the opening paragraph of your essay, or it can be the first few sentences of your essay. Background information identifies and describes the history, nature, and context of the subject you are writing about. Background information gives your audience the knowledge they need in order to fully understand your argument. And the thesis, as you know, is the roadmap of your essay. The thesis statement lets your audience know what your essay is going to be about, the position you take on that subject, and how you will support that position. Be sure to list your supporting points in order of importance and write about those points in the order they are listed in your thesis statement. So, I'll delve into the hook of your essay a little bit more, as well as give a little bit more information on thesis statements. But I also have an example paragraph that we'll break down so you can see the hook, background information, and thesis statement in action in a single introductory paragraph. So I have this inverted or upside down triangle up here to indicate to you that your introductory paragraph is going to go from broad to specific. Now, you should be staying on topic all the way through your essay, or all the way through your introductory paragraph. Like, your hook should be relevant to the overall topic of your essay, but it doesn't have to be very, very specific to your particular topic. And then obviously your thesis statement is going to be extremely specific because it is telling your audience what the paper is going to be about. And as the previous slide indicated, your background information is going to be like in the middle, because your background information lets your audience know anything they may need to know in order to understand your essay. So you cannot assume your audience knows anything about what you're writing, okay? Like, especially in the context of this class. Like, you should assume that if you're writing an essay about social media, that your audience is not very familiar with social media, and like explain to them what social media is, how it's like evolved over time, like maybe what's popular these days, because social media is ever evolving. So, there you go. But let's take that social media example. So if we're going to have a hook about social media, we maybe want to write about something that's happened in the news. Okay? So maybe if we want to talk about social media being positive for society, our hook can be about how, about maybe a viral TikTok video. Okay? And we want to, in our background information, provide some context for our audience about what TikTok is. And in our thesis statement, we can go with the ways in which social media is positive for our society, because particularly TikTok, because it's provided like entertainment or happiness or things for people to do like during quarantine. Okay? So let's look at an example paragraph. And I'll read the paragraph, and you can see that it's color-coded, like this teal font color is the hook, the purplish color is background information, and red is the thesis statement. So here we have, quote, all the news that's fit to print. The motto of the New York Times since 1896 plays with the word fit, asserting that a news story must be newsworthy and must not exceed the limits of the printed page. The increase in online news consumption, however, challenges both meanings of the word fit, allowing producers and consumers alike to rethink who decides which topics are worth covering and how extensive that coverage should be. Any cultural shift usually means that something is lost, but in this case, there are clear gains. The shift from print to online news provides unprecedented opportunities for readers to become more engaged with the news, to hold journalists accountable, and to participate as producers, not simply as consumers. Okay, so our hook here is a quote, and then this is a relevant quote and hook to have because this essay, as we can tell, is going to be about news. Specifically, it's going to be about how there is a shift from print news, so like newspapers and magazines, to news being consumed on the internet. And the essay is going to argue overall that this shift from print to online news is beneficial for the following reasons. Okay, so let's talk about the hook a little bit more. So there are things that you can do and things that you shouldn't do. First of all, make sure your hook is relevant to your essay. So your hook could be a brilliant opening line, a question, an anecdote, an intriguing fact, a playful joke, an emotional appeal, or a quote. So with this example, we see that we used a quote, like this author used a quote as their hook. And if we go to back to my example with social media, like about a viral TikTok video, that could be seen more as like an anecdote. So an anecdote is like a short little story, like not like a short story you would read in a book, but like maybe you would want to write, like describe the contents of a particular TikTok video, and that would be an anecdote, okay? Or maybe you want to write about how John Smith was able to kind of dig himself out of a depressed state while in quarantine, while watching, videos online and connecting with people through social media since, he couldn't go out of the house. Like, that would be an anecdote. Okay? But as always, just make sure your hook is relevant to your essay. Okay? Now, there's something called chasers, which is what not is something you should not do. So if you think of a hook, like you could think of like a fish hook. You're hooking a fish and you're bringing it out of the water. And the hook in your introductory paragraph is very similar. You're hooking your reader into your essay. A chaser, though, chasers are like when your audience is like chasing after your essay, like they're confused or it's boring, and maybe you're going to be the one chasing after your reader who's running away from your boring opening, right? So don't do dictionary definitions like Webster defines social media as such and such. Do not comment on the writing assignment itself. That is a huge pet peeve of mine and is something in general you should not do. The same with announcing your topic. So don't say, in this essay, I'm going to be writing about the positive effects of social media on society. Or, for my Unit 3 essay, I'm going to write about this. And no cliches or mixed metaphors, okay? So let's look back at our example here. So we have our example of our hook, as I pointed out, all the news that's fit to print. And we have a hook. This is the quote or the motto of the New York Times, and as I said before, it's relevant to the topic of this essay, which is about how the shift from print news to online news is beneficial for readers. Now, we've talked about a lot of this stuff with thesis statements already, so I'll pause a little bit on the slides so you can refresh your memory, but I'm not going to really delve into them until we reach new information. But do remember the thesis statement should be one sentence at the end of your introductory paragraph, and it must contain a subject, claim, and 3 points of support. I will say some common mistakes I see with the thesis statement is that it's not argumentative, meaning it lacks a claim, or there's just no points of support. Like if you have to write about which is better, dogs or cats. Your thesis statement shouldn't be dogs are better than cats. You should write dogs are better than cats because X, Y, Z. So here's the thesis statement from the example paragraph. The shift from print to online news provides unprecedented opportunities for readers to become more engaged with the news, to hold journalists accountable, and to participate as producers, not simply as consumers. So let's break this down, subject, claim, support. So the subject is shifting from print news to online news. And the claim here is that the shift from print to online news provides unprecedented opportunities. And then how this author is going to support that claim is by exploring how online news allows readers to be more engaged with the news, how online news allows readers to hold journalists more accountable, and how online news gives everyone the chance to be producers of news. Okay, and then here I just kind of have it broken down within like the sentence structure itself. Okay, so it's subject, claim, and our 3 points of support. Now let's talk a little bit more about how to write a working thesis statement. So this is similar to the previous lesson where we talked about brainstorming a thesis statement. So, but it's a little bit different. Okay, and I kind of like this way a little bit better. This kind of like fills in the gaps of the brainstorming a thesis statement. Like you have 3 steps. And then the 4th step is to write a tentative thesis statement. This kind of fills in that gap to help you write a tentative thesis statement. So define your topic. Our topic is online news. Now form a question about that topic. Is online news better than print news? Because I think it's really useful to form your topic as a question, because the answer to that question is like 2/3 of your thesis statement. All you're really missing is the points of support. Then you should define your support. And here we have online news, allows readers to be more engaged. It allows readers to hold journalists more accountable. It allows everyone to become producers of the news. And then you put it all together by using your support to answer your question. Online news is better than print news because online news allows readers to be more engaged with the news, to hold journalists more accountable, and to become producers of news. Okay? So I think this right here is super, super useful. Okay? And I really do recommend you doing this. This is something like you should do when you're towards the end of brainstorming your thesis statement. Maybe you're not quite ready to break it down by subject, claim, support. You're not ready to reverse outline it quite yet. Because I think this is a good tentative thesis statement that then becomes this nice, finely tuned, succinct thesis. And these are just some super important rules about the thesis statement that I've mentioned throughout the last 2 lessons, but I have written down for you here. Your thesis statement must be an argumentative statement. Thesis statements anchor your paper. They help you write your paper. They help guide readers through your paper. Make sure you write your paper about your thesis statement. Thesis statements often evolve, so it is okay to revise them as you write your essay. Do not include overly opinionated language in your thesis statement. I do want to talk about this right here. This is something else I'm not a huge fan of with NROC because they do allow you to make I statements. Now, in my English 111 classes, I do not let people write thesis statement or make I statements in their papers at all. And you will start doing that less and less as you move through the units. But, you know, they do ask you for some of these, like, do you think social media is positive or negative? You can use your personal experience to answer this question or to write this essay. And so, you know, it's just take it prompt by prompt, all right? Treat each prompt like a completely brand new moment, okay? But it is still better to try and avoid overly opinionated language in your thesis statement. Meaning, like, dogs are better than cats because cats are stupid. You know, that's too over the top and overly opinionated. Like, yes, obviously it's your opinion, but you don't want to make that too obvious because then your readers may not be willing to listen to you or trust you, okay? And then finally, list your supporting points in order of importance and write about those points in the order they are listed in your thesis statement. And that's that. So that's that for the intro. I didn't really have any separate slides for background information because it is pretty straightforward. It is just, as I've said, give your reader whatever background information, background knowledge they need in order to fully understand your topic, okay? In the next lesson, we'll start talking about body paragraphs. We'll talk about topic sentences, and thesis statements together, and how thesis statements inform topic sentences, and how thesis statements and topic sentences help you organize your essay, okay? So don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions, and good luck.